right now. 12 News.
This is the fun thing we do, help people realize the dream of becoming a citizen.
More than 300 people from 65 countries are calling themselves Americans on this 4th of July.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lynn Cooney.
I'm Mark Curtis. Thanks for joining us. This is 12 News at 6. We begin with breaking news tonight. A short time ago, a hazmat team and a bomb squad was called to the Bank One ballpark.
Victor Woodall is live in Sky 12 with the latest for us. Victor?
Well, I can tell you at this point, 4th Street looks like it's closed. You can see the little bit of the yellow tape there blowing in the breeze. And it was closed for a short time because of the incident. Now, hazmat crews were called to the Bob after a person came in contact with unknown substance near the ticket counter. Now, that person said that they had a bad reaction to that substance. The hazmat crews came out and tested the substance. Turned out the substance was aspirin, so they're unclear why that person did have a bad reaction to it. But this is the interesting note. People inside the Bob probably have no idea that this is happening outside the Bob because the game wasn't stopped. That's the very latest information for now from Sky 12. I'm Victor Woodall, 12 News.
Now back to our top story, the Fiesta of Independence. It started at South Mountain Community College back in 1988. Back then, only about 50 people were sworn in as new citizens. This year, more than 300 people from 65 different countries became Americans. The event is even more meaningful for many of these citizens because, of course, it falls on a national holiday, the 4th of July. Veronica Sanchez was at that ceremony. She joins us live now. Veronica?
Well, yeah, Mark, that ceremony wrapped up just a short time ago, but a lot of folks on their way out told me this is probably the most patriotic thing you could ever do on Independence Day, become a U.S. citizen. Inside a crowded gymnasium, they wait for citizenship.
We get people from all over the world.
From foreigner to American, all it takes is an oath to freedom.
That I will support and defend.
The final ritual in a long-standing tradition. A tradition Sylvia Gillette has always dreamed of.
She's a special woman to me.
A shy homemaker from Ecuador, Sylvia waits her turn while her husband snaps the pictures.
I'm very proud that she's doing this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And for me as an American, I learned to appreciate what she had to go through to become an American.
Nearly half of the citizenship candidates are from Mexico. 65 countries are represented in all, and every person has their own special reason. Ana Casillas wants to vote.
If I don't agree with an opinion of somebody, I can have my own opinion to follow a leader that I feel that's right.
Tiru Palavanaman wants an education.
This is a place where you can work hard and succeed.
And for shy Sylvia, the only motivation is pride.
She had me go out and buy her an outfit, so that's when I knew that it meant more to her than she was letting on.
The faces of immigrants have certainly changed throughout the years, but not the desire to be an American. The world has also changed, but the privilege has not. In South Phoenix, Veronica Sanchez, 12 News.
And congratulations to all those people. Well, fire crews continue to make progress in their battle against the Lightning Spark Cave Creek Complex fire. There's 75% containment on the south zone, while the north zone is 30% contained. Fire officials say humidity overnight helped in their burnout operations. In some areas, firefighters have started mopping up and rehabilitation is underway. So far, flames have devoured 244,000 acres. Well, drownings have claimed the lives of 2 more Valley children. 9-month-old Ethan Diaz and 18-month-old Connor Lonigan have died after being pulled from different backyard pools last night. Both pools had some sort of fencing around them, but it was not enough. Melissa Blasius is here with information about barriers that could save your child's life. Melissa?
Lynn Sue, investigators are still looking into exactly what led up to these 2 drownings. They say most backyard pool drownings involve families that have no kind of barrier at all. These families did have a barrier, but firefighters tell us not exactly what they want to see in people's backyards. They want you to have more protection than these people do, which is why we talked to a Scottsdale Fire Battalion chief today who says he wants to tell you what you should be looking for. The crystal clear water looks so inviting and so fun, but it's also so deadly to small children.
Even when my kids were young, I had a pool fence.
Scottsdale Fire Battalion Chief Jay Ducote says every family should invest in their children's safety with a sturdy pool fence. Most important, a self-closing, self-latching gate.
And the good thing about this latch is that you have to actually come up above it to open it, like this. The old latches that you've seen where they just click into a little mechanism, the kids can push on that with a toy or some type of baseball bat, push on that, and they can pull the fence open.
Ducote says you'd be surprised how small a space kids can squeeze through.
They found out that 4 inches, kids can get through a 4-inch slot. and so they want to keep it at a maximum of 4 inches.
That's true for the space between the bars and between the bottom rail and the ground. Also, remove all toys and floats from inside the fenced area, keeping kids from temptation.
You know, kids, if they see a toy on the other side in the swimming pool, they're gonna climb that fence and they're gonna get on the other side.
Toys and chairs just outside the fence pose another hazard.
A kid standing on here holding this fence, he can easily climb over.
Ducote reminds parents, though, no amount of safety barriers can replace good parental supervision. In Phoenix, Melissa Blasius, 12 News.
And for more information on pool safety, fence regulations, and CPR training, you can log on to targetzero.azcentral.com.
The 4th of July celebrations we all enjoy can be a nightmare for our four-legged friends. July 5th, one of the worst days of the year every year for animal shelters. The numbers could double overnight.
The fireworks are extremely scary for cats and dogs and other animals as well. And when they hear that big boom, it often changes their behavior and makes them do things that they wouldn't normally do. So a dog, for example, that lives in the yard might jump a fence, or a dog that's inside might even jump through a window.
So what do you do? Well, first of all, make sure that your pets have an identification tag. Keep them inside. Watch for any open gates and doors during parties that you might have. And don't take your pets out to the fireworks shows. If you do lose your pet, call the area shelters.
Well, the symbol of our country, the bald eagle, is making a rare appearance in the high country. For the first time since 1972, an eaglet has hatched in Flagstaff. Environmentalists are hoping this is the beginning of a comeback for the beautiful birds. Brandon Klein is in Flag with more on this important find. Brandon?
Lindsay, it's pretty fitting that we're learning about this bald eagle on Independence Day. It actually all began a few weeks ago when Game of Fish came across an eagle's nest, and they found a small eaglet inside, perfectly healthy. They decided to tag him so they can track his progress years down the road. It's a long climb and a lot of work. Got him! To get a closer look at Flagstaff's newest resident. It's the first evidence of eagles breeding in Flagstaff in more than 30 years. The Game and Fish Department wants to make sure this little one is healthy.
It's a little boy. Yeah, it's a little boy.
The 5-week-old eagle is tagged so experts can track his progress.
How long he's breeding in an area, where he came from, how far that was.
He's young and can't fly, but the eagle is still dangerous. So when measuring the bird, Game and Fish employees place covers over his claws and a hood over his head to calm him down.
I'm not squeezing him, I'm just preventing him from beating his wings.
He's not always cooperative.
Easy, easy.
And that's why they want people to stay away from the nest.
If a bird's perched on a tree next to the water, you want to stay about 300 feet. That way you don't disrupt his breeding behaviors. You know, people can love bald eagles to death, and we don't want that to happen here.
After he passes his first physical, the eaglet is returned home. Now it's time for his parents to take over. In Flagstaff, Brandon Klein, 12 News.
Boy, I can't believe how big he is.
I know, for being just a babe.
Big.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, for the first time in thousands of years, scientists are facing their fears about comets. It came in the form of a collision at 23,000 miles an hour, 80 million miles away from Earth. We'll explain.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. Here's some trivia for you. When did soda pop first get put in aluminum cans? I'll tell you the answer in a moment and tell you about the next thing you'll find in these things, wine.
Also ahead, find out who has the most prestigious job according to a new survey.
And hi there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Bill Kelly. Coming up in weather, we'll take a look at the temperatures around the state right now and see if the 7-day forecast has any signs of the summer monsoon. Stick around.
Navajo President Joe Shirley Jr. and his wife Vicki teamed up with Navajo police officers to help patrol a DUI checkpoint. Officers at a checkpoint on US 264 in New Mexico handed out more than 200 citations.
So, we're going to train.
Navajo First Lady recently launched an initiative to combat drunk driving in the Navajo Nation. Well, special education teachers and districts will be meeting to discuss changes in the Individual with Disabilities Education Improvement Act. That's a new law that will help teachers better identify if a student's behavior is attributed to learning disabilities or disciplinary problems. At least one Arizona district plans to offer special teacher training before the school year begins.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. All right, here's your trivia question for the day. When did soda pop first get put in aluminum cans? Well, it happened back in 1957. The pull top came along in 1962, and And the Stay On tab came along in 1974. So, are you ready for the next big innovation in cans? Wine? Most wines look pretty much the same, but there's a new wine called Sophia with a whole new approach. Sophia Mini Blanc de Blancs is a carbonated white wine that comes in a can. Consumer Reports' Adam Kaplan just tested this wine to see what it has to offer. The packaging is unique. A pink box houses 4 aluminum cans that come complete with extendable straws. 4 single-serving cans will cost about $20. Now, Consumer Reports says Sophia might come in handy for a picnic or some other occasion where you don't want to deal with a bottle, glasses, or a corkscrew. And Consumer Reports had expert wine consultants sample the wine in blind taste test as well. Now, they noted that Sophia is a simple, light-bodied wine with fruity aromas. Overall, the Sophia Mini Blanc de Blancs actually rated good.
The consultants did notice that it tasted better out of a glass than straight from the can.
But if you don't want the hassle of a bottle, well, Consumer Reports says Sophia Mini might just be the thing. By the way, soda pop in cans first started appearing in vending machines back in 1965, but don't expect to find Sophia there anytime soon. More likely in a store shelf, and if you can't find it there, go to wine.com. Rick DeBrule, 12 News.
It appears people hold doctors and scientists in very high regard. A recent Harris poll found that doctors, scientists, teachers, and firefighters as people with the most prestigious jobs. The least prestigious include real estate brokers, accountants, stockbrokers, and lawyers.
Well, one airline is testing a Skycap fee that would be on top of the tip that you already passed along for checking your bag curbside at the airport. Joe Dana has more on whether this idea could actually take off.
A vital link.
They're important.
Between the passenger and the airline.
Friendly, convenience, reassuring. They're great.
The Skycap, often the reason why passengers choose one airline over another.
It really makes a difference, especially with a baby. Getting to the airport on time, even early.
Now, American Airlines is considering the idea to charge customers $2 for Skycap service, which means a tip would not be enough.
No, I don't think it's fair.
According to the airlines, the $2 charge would require a level of understanding with the customer that it's not a tip. The customer would be invited to give a tip on top of the $2 fee.
If you were charged $2 to use a Skycap, would you still give a tip?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we usually give them a tip because, they kind of handle our bags, but if they're charging us, then, they're getting paid to do the same thing.
Another airline customer says he would tip just the same.
Yeah, because it's convenience.
One Skycap employee here tells us they work like restaurant servers, earning less than $3 an hour and relying on tips for their money. He says charging for their service would inevitably lead to less money in their pockets. At Sky Harbor Airport, Joe Dana, 12 News.
Now, we did call American Airlines Corporation about this story, but their offices are closed today.
Scientists at the University of Arizona and NASA are celebrating a train wreck in space called the Deep Impact mission. Cheers erupted from Mission Control in Pasadena today when the Deep Impact spacecraft smashed into a comet the size of an island at 23,000 miles an hour. Both scientists and astronomy enthusiasts are amazed.
I think it's just absolutely incredible, beyond belief, that we can hit something 83 million miles away.
Well, Stephanie Malam is a U of A grad student who's been dedicating long hours to this mission, and she's thrilled about the possibilities.
We're looking back in time, and hopefully this will tell us a lot more about where the formation of life began.
So what did it look like? Within minutes of the collision, scientists could see images showing bright white flashes coming from the impact. They'll spend the next few days studying those pictures and data coming back.
Tragedy marks this 4th of July celebration. Good evening, I'm Lynn Cooney.
I'm Mark Curtis. Thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news coming out of Central Phoenix, where a toddler has been shot in the thigh in what appears to be a drive-by shooting near 16th Avenue in Camelback. Kim Holcomb is at the shooting scene. Kim, what's going on?
Mark, one neighbor tells us that he thought he had heard firecrackers going off, but police say it was actually the pop of bullets and a toddler was caught in the middle. Witnesses say they saw 2 men pulling up in a car outside the Camelot Apartments about 7:30 tonight. The passenger in that car jumped out and confronted a guy sitting on the front steps. They exchanged words and the passenger pulled out a semi-automatic and started firing. Police have found at least 7 shell casings, so we know he fired multiple rounds, but investigators don't think he hit his intended victim. Instead, Instead, one of the bullets punctured a 2-year-old's hip. Her mother had just carried her outside when the bullet started flying. The little girl was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but we have learned she is expected to survive. Still, both witnesses and police are sickened by what happened.
Kids, they're so innocent, and it affects everyone, because here's the baby in the mother's arms, and you think the mother, of course, thinks it's safe to step outside of her apartment complex, and the baby suffers a gunshot wound. It's just something that it still bothers all of us.
Police are still looking for the shooter and his getaway driver. Witnesses say they were in a maroon Thunderbird. The shooter is only described as a black man, but the driver is described as a white man with a beard and mustache, wearing a black baseball hat and shirt. Police are also trying to locate the intended victim. He ran away, but we're told he goes by the name Outcast. Again, that little girl should survive. She's in surgery tonight at St. Joseph's Hospital. That's the very latest live in Phoenix. Kim Holcomb, 12 News.
Kim, any word on motivation for this shooting? Was it gang related?
It's really unclear at this point, Mark. Part of the reason being that police simply don't know who any of these guys involved were. They don't even know who this intended victim was, other than that name Outcast. We know that he does not live at this apartment complex, however, he frequents it. As for the shooter and his getaway driver, they haven't been identified. Police are looking for leads, so if you know anything, call Phoenix Police tonight.
Boy, and our thoughts go out to that little girl and her family. Thanks, Kim.
For 2 other Valley families, this holiday will forever be marked as the day they lost their children. 9-month-old Ethan Diaz was found in his parents' Scottsdale pool last night. Today, we learned the little boy died. A family friend tells 12 News the boy's mother was on the back patio at the time, but she did not hear her child fall into the pool. An 18-month-old Phoenix boy named Connor Londigan also drowned in his family's pool last night, even though there was a fence around it. Officials are not sure exactly how the boy got into the water.
The 4th of July is also considered one of the deadliest weekends on the roads nationwide, and firework displays like the one you see behind me are partially to blame, because drivers pull over or slow down to watch the show. That created a lot of problems and 9 accidents on the Loop 202 last year. So tonight, DPS posted notices to keep drivers moving and threatened to fine anyone who stopped. But our ADOT video, which you're looking at right now, showed no major problems this year. Now here's the other big problem that creates dangerous roadways: impaired drivers. Mesa police say these men were busted for driving under the influence. They're among nearly 300 around the state cited in the past 24 hours for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and officers say they expect to catch many more before the night is out.
People enjoy the weekend or enjoy the holidays by drinking. You have the heat. People are getting dehydrated, so the alcohol is affecting them a lot more so. Then you have the traveling. A lot of people go on out of town. They drink while they're out of town. They think they're okay. It's been a couple of hours since they had the last drink. They're tired, the heat, so you have that factors.
All right, now what about the West Valley? Officers pulled over 227 drivers there last night. 39 were busted for driving drunk, 16 arrested for extreme DUI. 2 faced charges of aggravated DUI, and 2 were underage. The average blood alcohol content was 0.147.
Another danger to keep in mind tonight is that many people shoot guns into the air to celebrate the 4th of July, even though it is a felony. In Glendale, police can track you down using a shot spotter. It uses sound wave technology to track gunshots within 25 feet. Despite aggressive laws, officers still see a lot of random gunfire on Independence Day and on New Year's Eve. Well, parties, barbecues, and fireworks can turn a holiday weekend dangerous very, very quickly.
Firefighters have to be ready to handle literally anything from a wildfire to a burn victim in a moment's notice. Kevin Kennedy hung out at one fire station in Peoria tonight to get an idea of what they go through. Kev?
Yeah, Mark, Peoria firefighters spent their day rushing from one call to the next. The 4th of July, typically a busy one, and today was no different. Firefighters here in Peoria were called out on more than 40 calls, ranging from debris fires and barbecue fires to strokes and heat exhaustion. This call involved a 12-year-old that hit his head on the bottom of a pool while diving in. Paramedics stabilized his neck and spine before transporting him. Firefighters we spoke with said despite how busy they were today, they were also surprised there haven't been more firework-related injuries. But they also know tonight isn't over.
You know, on 4th of July, you'll get some firework injuries, usually someone who injured their hand or, brush fire from the fireworks going off. But usually it's a pretty typical day, just more people off doing things to get hurt.
If there was one thing I took away from spending time here this afternoon, it's the speed these firefighters perform their jobs. At one point, a call came in. I looked at my watch. By the time we left the station, it was only 29 seconds. We responded to the call within 4 minutes. That's fast, and that's what these firefighters do on a daily basis. We're live in Peoria. Kevin Kennedy, 12 News.
Kevin, thanks. Hats off to those guys.
Well, fireworks have also proved to be dangerous, and tonight a group of kids are blamed for starting a wildfire that nearly burned some homes. The fireworks landed on dry brush, sparking a 50-acre wildfire west of Prescott Valley on Glassford Hill. Firefighters also had to deal with swirling winds that caused that fire to change direction several times. At one point, it came within a mile of homes, but crews used air tankers and helicopters to stop the blaze in its tracks. Tonight, they are still mopping up some hot spots. The kids that started this fire have not been found. This year, fire officials do expect to see more urban wildfires.
That's because there's so much more dry brush out there that's left over from the wet winter we had. The largest fire burning in our state right now is, of course, the Cave Creek Complex fire at 244,000 acres. Today, it did grow a little bit towards the west and northwest, but no communities are threatened, and some parts are up to 75% contained, which is great news. They hope to have it fully contained by the end of the week. And a windswept wildfire created some tense moments for homeowners living north of the Carefree Highway today. The wildfire threatened several homes near Daisy Mountain, but firefighters on the job able to get it under control before any structures burned.
A scare tonight for more than a dozen people at the Bank One ballpark. Hazmat crews shut off a part of the ballpark about midway through the game after someone complained of having a bad reaction to a substance at the ticket counter. That substance turned out to be aspirin. No one was hurt and the game was not interrupted.
As America celebrates its independence, many today were celebrating being American. Well, those special words recited by 300 new citizens who took the oath at South Mountain Community College. Some waited half their lives for this moment, and all had their own stories and reasons. Antonio Elders, who immigrated from Lebanon, told us it all came down to one simple word.
Freedom. Freedom of speech is the most important.
In all, Arizona welcomed new citizens from 60 different countries, with more than half coming from Mexico. And to all, we say welcome.
What a great day to become an American.
And they'll never forget it. All new at 10, a fun new way to make homemade ice cream and work off those calories at the same time.
Plus, a Christian church gives the nod to same-sex marriages.
Terry Nichols is behind bars for his role in the Oklahoma City bombing, but now his mother says he was forced to do it.
And scientists at the University of Arizona celebrate an explosion in outer space. Homosexual couples can now turn to a church for acknowledgement of their commitment. The United Church of Christ will officially open its doors to same-sex marriages. Now, that makes the UCC the largest Christian denomination to take such a stand. But the vote is not binding on individual churches, and some believe it could force some congregations to leave the United Church of Christ fold.
I'm Call 12 for Action's Rick DeBrule. Face it, everybody loves ice cream. Well, now there's a way to make ice cream and have fun at the same time. At this ice cream parlor, kids are having a ball, but eating ice cream is a far cry from making your own. Consumer Reports just tested a new ice cream maker that promises to get the job done with some fun in about 20 minutes. The Yuko Play and Freeze ice cream maker is a plastic ball that contains a metal cylinder. First, you fill the ball with ice and rock salt. Next, you mix the ice cream ingredients together. For vanilla ice cream, in went cream, sugar, and vanilla extract. After stirring to dissolve the sugar, you pour the mixture into the cylinder. That's when the fun begins. You have to roll and shake the ball for about 20 minutes to make the ice cream. Now, testers found the youngest ice cream enthusiasts may not be able to get the job done, but Consumer Reports says older kids like Aiden, Bella, Daniel, and Jason here had no problem. After 20 minutes, testers checked the results. The Play and Freeze delivers with a pint of very good homemade ice cream.
It's really good.
So the next time your kids scream for ice cream, they can have a ball making their own. You can buy the ice cream ball at LL Bean, or you can find them online at yukocorp.com. The basic ingredients to make ice cream only cost about $3. Rick DeBrule, 12 News.
How fun. We got to get one of those. Well, if you really want your kids to graduate from college, you may want to monitor just how much television they're watching. 3 new studies show that too much TV could reduce their chances of getting a degree. A California study finds kids who have TVs in their bedrooms score 8 points lower on math and language tests. Previous studies have linked TV to attention problems. Critics say the research did not consider the content of the TV programs. Obviously, if they were watching weathercasts,
that's right.
learn all about meteorology.
I was going to say, funny, we all ended up in the business. What does that say about us? You know, hey, we're watching a tropical storm. It's not going to affect us, this particular one, but it is hurricane season, so it's something a little bit different to talk about. Summer monsoon not starting yet. First, we'll start you out in Chandler, though. The 4th of July festival out there at Tumbleweed Park. Folks are having some fun, beautiful fireworks tonight. Thought we'd show you that video. Temperatures were on the hot side again today. Currently, we are sitting 3 degrees warmer than it was at the same time yesterday at 98. The humidity very low at 12%. The winds are light, the dew point at 38. Our weather tomorrow going to be very similar to what it was today, meaning that we'll have plenty of numbers like 113 degrees in the shade in Glendale, Chandler as well. 111 for Gilbert, officially 109 in Phoenix, 107 for Scottsdale. It was 108 around Queen Creek and 106 for you folks up in Cave Creek. And around the state, it was 107 for Tucson, another $107 for Safford as well, 101 in Sedona, 84 in Flagstaff. The Grand Canyon, 89 today after a morning low of 38, a massive temperature spread again. And tonight, those numbers have come down into the middle to low 50s, heading back down into the upper 30s and low 40s tonight. 75 currently for Winslow. Doesn't that sound nice? 101 for Yuma, 94 currently for Tucson. Around the state, as I mentioned, we have very little to talk about. We have clear skies tonight, sunny conditions tomorrow, hot in the deserts, warm in northern Arizona, and that persistence forecast going to continue for the next couple of days. Some big changes, though, in the Gulf of Mexico. 360 miles south of the mouth of the Mississippi River is Tropical Depression 3. Winds are at 35 miles per hour. Once it gets to 39, it becomes a tropical storm that would be Tropical Storm Cindy. It's moving off to the north and northwest at 13 miles per hour. If you have plans to the deep south this week, say late Tuesday night, Wednesday, and even into Thursday, you really want to keep your eyes on this as it is. It looks like it will continue to head straight to the north. Some other active weather through central parts of Texas. We have the severe thunderstorm watch boxes out. Also some storms moving out of Colorado into the plain states, but a lot of moisture. So once again tomorrow through the Midwest and the eastern seaboard, they're going to be seeing some showers. And currently those temperatures are humid and warm. 77 degrees in Cincinnati. That's also for Raleigh, the nation's capital. 65 up around Boston. It's 82 degrees currently for Miami. And then some widespread 50s and 60s into the upper plains. 58 for Bismarck. 66 is the current temperature up around Seattle, Washington. So as I mentioned, temperatures and conditions tomorrow similar to what they were today, meaning about 113 for Lake Havasu, 111 around Gila Bend. Sunny and hot, sunny and warm up north. 102 for Kingman. About 87 tomorrow for the Grand Canyon with morning lows around 41. 97 for Page. Mostly sunny over in the White Mountains. 87 the forecast for Show Low. 101 for Globe. Mostly sunny and hot down around Tucson for 106 degrees tomorrow afternoon. 77 to 82 around the valley tonight. Officially at Sky Harbor last night, I believe it was 79, so similar. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, 107 to 112. Keeping it in the forecast. I'm watching some moisture move in here for Saturday and Sunday. It doesn't look like the start of the summer monsoon. The normal start would be Thursday the 7th, but at least we're looking at something building in, so we'll keep you posted.
That would be great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Finally, tonight we want to give you a look at the fireworks displays from around the nation, including Pittsburgh, Nashville, and St. Louis. Let's start with New York City, where this spectacular display of fireworks lit up the night sky over New York's East River. 35,000 shells were launched during the 30-minute extravaganza. More fireworks. Good night, everyone.
More Arizonans watch 12 News more than any other local news. 12 stands for local news.